No way.
Well, this was really unexpected. I haven't even heard of gully erosion before. And what I'm about to discover here, well, let me just catch you up and explain what's going on, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Today started like any other ordinary Christmas day. I spent time with the little kiddos, opening presents from family and playing cars. Well, mostly watching the cars crash, but anything was better than dealing with that house I had bought, that fixer-upper on the hill. Now, I guess in case you don't remember, about a month ago today, I bought a house I later learned was basically built on quicksand. See, I didn't know that going in, and I spent about 3 weeks in escrow, and my deposit was on the line. I was working with the bank on trying to figure out what all the problems were with this house, and see, the only reason I was still talking with the bank was because I had seen what I thought was basically a solid remodel ready for me to throw in some beautiful light fixtures, the kitchen, the bathroom, some flooring, and call it a day. And I guess that's where my red flag number 1 should have gone up. It just looked too good to be true. The price was too good for the limited amount of work I thought I needed to do, and I basically had a blank canvas. I didn't even have to spend money on demolition because it was ready for me to make it a beautiful home.
We're doing a whole house remodel over here.
But unfortunately, that's when I broke the rule of buy normal. And when I say buy normal, I don't mean like, oh, it's normal to teach your baby how to eat fake pizza or, other normal things that you might do to your children. This was not normal in the sense of a house not being normal. It was a yeah, but. Buying normal usually means buying a house that 90% of people would buy. That's usually your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like 1,300 to 1,500 square foot, maybe single-story home. Sometimes 2-story, kind of depends. Really, any variation of tract home. And I get it, like tract homes, ugh, who wants a tract home? They get such a bad rap. Maybe, but there's something really cool about them. They're really safe. I can go knock on neighbors' doors and find out what the issues are in the neighborhood, what the plumbing problems are, what the sewage problems are, what's with the traffic, and how about the other neighbors? I can get model match sales to make sure I'm getting a great deal and buying below market value, getting that wedge deal. Basically, I have zero risk on these deals. In fact, Business Insider just did an article on how I get these deals with zero risk. And it's basically the same stuff I teach, not only on my YouTube videos, but obviously in detail in my real estate related courses. Link below. Go check them out and use that coupon code New Year's 2020. Anyway, I don't like risk, and risk is something kind of like when you walk up to the house and you start kind of seeing the foundation crumbling in front of your eyes after it rained, and all of the wood sheathing around the house, which is basically this big plywood, is starting to rot away. And all of the plywood sheathing is actually basically getting destroyed and weathered because when it rains, it kind of splashes back up. That's not good. And I mean, let's be real. This isn't to say that tract homes can't be yeah buts. A yeah but is basically where you go, ooh, I found a great deal. Yeah, but it's next to the freeway, or it's under glow-in-the-dark power lines. The neighbors don't know anything about your place. It's too unique. It's out of the scope of normal. This is like that 10% buyer pool, kind of the weird buyer pool. I guess I'm not calling the buyers weird. I'm calling it's abnormal, right? It doesn't fall within that 90%.
This pipe used to be buried, and it looks like a lot of the earth has sort of moved around here. That's kind of weird because now the whole pipe is exposed.
For example, if 90% of the houses in Ventura County are on a sewer system, then being on septic is weird. It's a yeah but. Now, a lot of these initial things I can deal with, but I'm about to walk into something that really, well, let's just say, scared the crap out of me. See, I had actually done a lot of work and inspections on this property. I even started 3D modeling the property. By the way, you really ought to get yourself one of these 3D cameras. They're crazy. Anyway, fast forward a few weeks and some really bad news about the foundation and the property kind of being on quicksand and me canceling my purchase and, trying to keep renegotiating, but the bank basically giving me the finger. I kind of went back to the property and thought, well,
that feeling you get when you passed on something and then you kind of like have this like fear of missing out on what could have been? Yeah.
maybe it's worth at least making a lower offer. And I think this is where you can see that I'm kind of actually still FOMOing a little bit. And I thought recording this would help me unFOMO, but it's really just making me MoFOMO. Well, that's when things started turning again. See, another thing I learned in real estate is a concept known as when there's one, there's two. And that's not really a grammar lesson, it's just, look, when you look at a garage like this that has problems, where they obviously didn't build this garage with the hillside coming crashing down into it, except now it is, that's a problem. And usually when you have one problem, you just walk right into the next catastrophe.
I mean, if you think about it, this hillside has basically already been coming down onto this garage. There's no way somebody would build a garage, butt it up to dirt like this. So in other words, this hillside has already been eroding, and I didn't even notice it last time, but think about it, why else? They didn't build it that way. Maybe I need to define what binormal is again, so I stop making these mistakes.
And see, that's another reason I really like buying normal, because you get to stay within the rules of the money pit scale. You know, that money pit scale is that irony where the more expensive things are to fix, the lower your returns are. It's like you replace a foundation for $100,000 and you make maybe 5 to 10 cents on your dollar. And then you do cheap stuff like paint and carpet and you get $2 or $3 back for every dollar you spend. You know, it doesn't really make sense. But anyway, look at something I missed last time. Here's the footage of last time. You can kind of look around. Obviously, everything's a little bit more brown. It hasn't rained. But look at what has evolved in the middle of the property. A really sweet Christmas testimonial from somebody saying they're super glad they discovered me on YouTube and gave buying my course a shot. To this day, he's never regretted it, and even says that nobody in his family or in his friends circle knows anything about real estate. All of them overspent on their deals and compared what they were saying to my advice and realized the amount of mistakes and potential mistakes that most people make in real estate. Chris goes on to say this has been the best purchase of his life. Thank you, Chris, and Merry Christmas to you as well. Oh, and about the property, yes, now there's literally a ravine going through the property. Look at this. This is the classic example of gully erosion. This is where initially you have just like a little ditch that looks normal, and then over time it starts growing.
Oh my gosh, the water basically dug its own canal through here. And cut through all of this earth.
Except a week ago, this is what this ditch looked like, and this is what the ditch looks like today. That is in 7 days. Look how much erosion has occurred.
Oh my God.
Just a heads up, here's a progression of what gully erosion looks like. Here's very little, here's some more, and then you're in the Grand Canyon.
This was almost my headache to deal with. Water that comes through and rips apart your land because you're built under a hillside and you're nothing but basically a water stream to, I don't know, get to the ocean, I guess. If this happens after a week, imagine what's gonna happen over the next few months. Oh, well, you got an avocado tree. Oh, that's a bonus I didn't know.
Well, the problem is the more this happens, the more things get sucked away into the earth. I mean, look, Southern California Edison, the power company, just placed this anchor for a power pole right here next to this ditch. They wouldn't have placed that anchor there had they known this would start eroding like crazy. And if this happens for another week or two, that power pole is going to lose its support, and the last thing I want is that thing falling down. This is scary. And I mean, look at the aerial view for this property. The neighbor on the left dumps water into you. The neighbors from above the street dump water into you. The neighbors from the right dump water into you. It's almost like your driveway is kind of like, please come down into this retention basin known as my home. And you're now sitting in this retention basin in basically a shoebox of elevated land, which you call home. Now, I think this is all solvable, and I even still, I don't know why, but I'm still FOMOing over this property. I'm still having these feelings of, I know there's potential here, but it's so important to recognize that, oh my gosh, by staying out of the realm of normal, what am I doing? I'm taking myself away from my children and spending time with my family, and instead, I'm focused on this? Seriously? I mean, imagine what the county's going to require.
Now you might think, oh, this isn't a big deal, but here's what happens. This kind of erosion continues to happen. That house gets threatened. Well, that house needs a new foundation anyway. You go to the county and you go apply for a new foundation and they see this happening, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna say, go up to that hillside and build a concrete gully from the top of the hill all the way through the end of your lot. Or stick with your crappy old foundation.
They're probably going to require massive concrete gullies if you go to redo that foundation and grade this lot to prevent exactly this kind of gully erosion from happening. This is scary, and it's clear to me that gully erosion is eating my house. And unless you want a severe case of the GE, well, you better smash the like button for this video.
Look how close it is, it's insane.
And check out those courses, link below. Thanks so much for watching, wish me luck, and until next time.